Welcome to Navarre, where turning 20 means getting legally yeeted into military service, and dragon-related fatalities are just part of the vibe. Meet Violet Sorengale, physically delicate, emotionally stable, debatable, and all she really wants is to curl up with a good book and not die violently. Unfortunately, her mom is a war general with the emotional range of a wet sock and the nurturing instincts of a sledgehammer. On conscription day, mom storms in like, surprise, you're not going to be a scribe, you're going to dragon murder school. And Violet's like, my bones don't even stay in place when I walk too hard. And mom's like, that sounds like a you problem. Luckily, Violet's sister Mira sneaks her some illegal upgrades like a dragon scale corset, medieval Kevlar, but make it fashion, and their dead brother Brennan's survival notebook titled How to Not Die, A Horrible Death at War College, Volume 1. So off she goes to Basgayath War College, which is basically Hogwarts if murder was encouraged, and gym class had a body count. The place is filled with psychopaths, dragons, and exactly zero safety protocols. Violet is 5'0", physically allergic to effort, and already has at least 4 people placing bets on how quickly she'll be dragon toast. But listen, our girl's got grit, or at least spite, and sometimes that's enough. Because in this school, it's bond with a dragon, or die trying. And if the dragons don't get you, the other students definitely will. So, day 1 of Dragon Murder School, and Violet gets handed her first assignment. Cross a slippery, 1-foot-wide stone death bridge, hundreds of feet in the air during a storm. No rails, no safety net, just vibes. This delightful death trap is called the parapet, and it exists purely to weed out the weak, the clumsy, and anyone with a fear of gravity. So, basically Violet. Also, it's totally normal here for classmates to kill each other on the first day. Because character development, I guess. As Violet reaches the top of the tower, she meets her fellow This Won't End Well participants, and one especially punchable face, Jack Barlow, a fellow cadet whose hobbies include violence, murder, and casual sociopathy. Then enters Xaden Rierson. Dark hair, shadow magic, daddy issues, the whole broody bad boy starter pack. He's a third-year cadet and the son of the most famous traitor in recent history. Violet's mom literally executed his dad. Awkward. Violet and Xaden lock eyes, instantly hate each other, and also want to make out. You know how it goes. Anyway, Violet steps onto the parapet and starts making her way across, reciting historical facts to calm herself like a nerdy Disney princess on the verge of vomiting. Halfway through, Jack straight up tries to shove her off the edge because apparently attempted murder is just a Tuesday here. But Violet, not today, Satan. She survives, dislocates a few joints, threatens Jack with a dagger, and makes it across, barely. On the other side, everyone's like, whoa, the small, fragile girl didn't die. Weird. And Jack, he vows revenge. Cool. Welcome to Basgayath War College. Please enjoy your stay. No refunds if you explode. So Violet survives the parapet, which is basically the Hunger Games audition, and gets assigned to a squad. Surprise! She lands in 4th Wing under the direct command of none other than Xaden, Broody McShadowpants Ryerson. Cue dramatic tension. She also reconnects with Dane, her childhood bestie turned hot but judgy squad leader. Dane is super protective, and by protective, we mean he treats Violet like she's made of shattered glass and bad decisions. His solution to everything is, maybe you should quit, which is only slightly more helpful than screaming and running in circles. Training begins, and let's just say, Violet is not thriving. Every sparring match is a potential death sentence. She's got the upper body strength of a wet noodle and bones that dislocate if someone looks at her too hard. Now, here's where Violet gets clever. Since brute force isn't on the menu, she uses Brennan's, the dead brother, secret notebook to figure out who she'll be fighting each day and poisons them just enough to give herself an edge. Not to kill them, just, mildly incapacitate them. Totally ethical. Meanwhile, tensions with Xaden heat up. He's always watching her, sometimes training her, sometimes threatening her, always smoldering. Also, fun fact, Xaden calls her violence. as in her name is Violet, but he's giving it a murdery upgrade. It's equal parts threatening and flirty, which is pretty much their whole relationship dynamic. So it's Threshing Day, aka Dragon Tinder, but with actual death. Here's how it works. Cadets are tossed into a giant field full of dragons and told, go bond with one or get roasted alive. No pressure. Violet is just trying to stay alive and not get turned into a barbecue platter. But, oh no, here come the frat boy murder squad. Jack and his goons decide their best chance of bonding with a dragon is by killing a small, adorable golden dragon, just chilling in the grass. Because when has attacking a baby animal ever backfired in fantasy? Violet, fueled by caffeine, spite, and zero regard for her own survival, leaps in to save the tiny dragon, which would be noble if it didn't shatter both her ankles on landing. So now she's got 0 functioning feet and 3 dudes trying to murder her. Great. Just as the frat bros move in to finish her off, the sky goes dark, and suddenly the biggest, baddest, most terrifying black dragon ever drops out of the clouds like a winged war crime. His name? Tarn. He casually incinerates the threat and scoops up Violet like she's a wounded chicken nugget. You'd think that'd be enough excitement for one day, but no, because guess what? The tiny golden dragon Andarna is also like, hey girl, let's bond. And just like that, Violet becomes the first cadet in ever to bond with 2 dragons at the same time. A grumpy apex predator and a magical toddler. That's right. This makes Violet extremely powerful and also a glowing neon target. And just when Violet's thinking things can't get more complicated, Xaden pulls her aside and drops a bomb. Tarn is the mate of his dragon, Sigeo. Translation? If you die, I die. Oh, and by the way, they're now psychically bonded. So all those spicy thoughts she's been having, yeah, he probably knows. Oops. Violet's reaction, pure panic. Xaden's reaction, suspiciously invested in her survival. So Violet's trying to stay under the radar. Unfortunately, someone just slapped a neon sign on her back that says, kill me for a dragon upgrade. And someone takes that very literally. One night, 6 unbonded cadets break into her room, ready to shank her in her sleep and free up her dragons for adoption. But just as Violet's about to become a pancake with knife holes, her baby dragon Andarna panics and whoops, stops time. Yep, she's tiny, sparkly, and can casually bend the laws of physics when she gets scared. No big deal. When time restarts, Xaden kicks the door in like the world's hottest bouncer and proceeds to ruin everyone's whole career. Violet lives. Barely. The next day, Xaden exposes the traitor who let the killers in, and they get straight up executed in the quad like it's just another Monday. After that, Xaden goes into you're not allowed to die ever mode, which is actually kind of sweet. He assigns Liam to shadow her like a loyal golden retriever with military training and starts giving her extra training sessions. Violet doesn't know whether to kiss him or stab him, probably both. Meanwhile, Dane, the childhood bestie, keeps insisting she drop out for her own good, which is starting to feel more condescending than caring. Especially since every time she talks to Xaden, her brain says danger, but her hormones say, yes, please. Also, dragons don't understand boundaries. Tarn and Xaden's dragon Sigeo are bonded. So every time the dragons get emotionally snuggly, Violet and Xaden feel it too. It's like being magically third-wheeled by your pets. So now, Violet's juggling flying lessons, assassination attempts, trust issues, awkward magical soul links, and very intense eye contact with a guy who might be her soulmate or her downfall. And finals haven't even started yet. Just when things were settling into a nice routine of don't die today, Basgyath decides it's time for a little friendly competition. And by friendly, we mean squad-on-squad battles with full military gear and actual war tactics. It's like gym class, but with dragons and death. Violet's squad? Surprisingly competent, probably because they're all trauma-bonded and terrified of letting Xaden down. For one of the challenges, they steal General Sorrengail's military map, aka Violet's mom's personal war board, and win big. The prize? They get to shadow real soldiers on the front lines. Congrats, kids! You're now eligible for death in 2 locations, school and war. Out on the front, Violet briefly reunites with her sister Mira before the whole place is ambushed by Griffin riders from Poromiel, aka the enemy with budget dragons. It's chaos. Violet barely escapes with her bones still attached. But the real showstopper, back at school, it's time for a little capture the flag, except if you lose, you might straight up die. During the game, Jack Barlow, yes, him again, like an unkillable rash, goes after Liam, Violet's bodyguard, and certified cinnamon roll. Violet, fueled by rage, desperation, and dragon adrenaline, jumps in to save Liam, and that's when it happens. Her signet finally awakens. Boom. Violet can control lightning now. Just casually yeets bolts from the sky like she's Zeus with better hair. She fries Jack like a leftover pizza roll and walks away glowing, traumatized, and officially dangerous. Later that night, Xaden shows up. There's yelling, there's brooding, there's unresolved tension, and then there's intercourse. Yep. They finally cross the line from we hate each other, but our dragons are dating, to full-blown fantasy hookup, complete with magical emotional bonding. Violet immediately puts up boundaries like, cool, but don't catch feelings unless you mean it. And Xaden, for once, doesn't have a snarky comeback. Girls got lightning, dragons, and now complicated feelings. So, War Games time. The cadets are told it's just a simulation. But Violet's internal alarm is blaring. Xaden looks too serious. The mission feels too remote. And her dragons are acting like they just smelled smoke. Turns out they were right. Violet's squad is sent to a remote outpost right on the edge of Navarre's magical barrier. The wards that are supposed to keep the big bads out. But guess what? The wards are leaking. And through that crack slithers the thing everyone thought was just a scary bedtime story. The Venin. These guys aren't just your standard issue villains. They're dark magic junkies who drain power straight from the earth, twist it, and use it to create their own monster pets, Wyvern, the nightmare cousins of dragons. Suddenly, the simulation becomes a full-on ambush. Cadets are dying, dragons are bleeding, and nobody brought the good weapons because, this was supposed to be fake. And then, surprise plot twist. Jack Barlow, yes, him again, somehow not dead after his death by lightning moment, shows up feral, unhinged, and apparently harder to kill than cockroaches in a bunker. That's when Taran ends his sequel, One Chomp, Goodbye Jack, for real this time. But the celebration is short-lived. Liam fights like a hero and dies like one, defending Violet until the very end. It's brutal, heartbreaking, and Violet doesn't have time to grieve, because now she's fighting a Venin, bleeding out from a poisoned dagger, and trying not to pass out mid-air. Just when it looks like the end, Violet calls lightning out of the sky like the storm goddess she was born to be, blasting the enemy and saving what's left of her squad. It's chaos, it's devastation, and it's very, very real. This wasn't training, this was war, and someone let it happen. Violet collapses as the world fades to black, dragons screeching, friends dying, and her whole belief system crumbling. Because if the Venin are real, what else has the Empire been lying about? She wakes up days later in a rebel fortress, patched up by Xaden. Violet's like, am I dead? Xaden's like, no, but the Empire's moral compass is. Turns out they're in Aricia, the rebellion's secret hideout, and it's way nicer than Basgaeth. Less murder, more emotional honesty. No one tries to kill her before breakfast. 10 out of 10. As Violet gets the debrief, the tea is piping hot. Apparently, the Kingdom of Navarre has been sweeping literal monsters under the rug for decades, and anyone who speaks up gets branded a traitor or accidentally executed. Love that for them. And Dane, that walking safety vest with the savior complex, he didn't know this would happen, but he did read Violet's memories without her consent, like some magical spyware boyfriend. Then he shared them with Command because nothing says I care, like accidentally setting your crush up for assassination. Violet is already processing all this like, cool, love the betrayal, feels great, and then her brother Brennan walks in. Yup, the one who was supposed to be very dead. Violet's like, what in the plot twist is this? Brennan's like, surprise, not dead, leading the rebellion now, also pass the tea. Turns out he faked his death, went full rebel, and has been fighting the real war behind the scenes. Violet's whole worldview collapses like a badly assembled IKEA bookshelf. Her mother? Lying. The government? Lying harder. The rebels might actually be the only ones not lying. She's got 2 dragons, lightning powers, a probably undead brother, and a very complicated boyfriend situation involving magical psychic bonds and smoldering looks. And the war, it hasn't even started yet.